During the week, I had a fantastic opportunity to interview Chris Raydog. Now, Chris is a KDP publisher, a very successful publisher, and he's also got a YouTube channel with over 12,500 subscribers. So in the interview, we cover plenty of different things, and that's why I'm splitting it over two interviews. So we've got part A, and we cover many things about quality versus quality. We're looking at the number of books that you should be publishing. We also cover the journey of Chris and what it's taken for him to be able to generate a really solid passive income through KDP publishing. So make sure you watch this full episode, and then in a few days' time, I'll be releasing part 2, and we'll be covering Amazon advertising. We'll be looking at different ways that you can outsource parts of your KDP publishing as well, and the income you can expect from publishing with KDP. So these are the things we're going to be covering. Now, if you haven't been to my channel before, welcome. My name's Romney, and thank you very much for watching this interview. So watch carefully, because there's going to be some great tips throughout part A and part B that I would like you to take note of, because you've got some great information and knowledge that's being shared by myself, who've published over 350 books, and then Chris himself, who's published close to 1,000 books. So thanks very much for the opportunity to be able to share this information with you, and I hope you enjoy it. Hi everybody, welcome to the Life Graduate Publishing Group YouTube channel. So I've got a special guest with me today. I've got Chris, who's part of the Chris Raydog YouTube channel, and I'm really happy to have him on board, because what I wanted to do is create an interview or a guests list of interviews where I've got the masters of self-publishing, and Chris has got a fantastic YouTube channel. I watch it myself. I love the content, and what I like most about what Chris produces is that he's authentic with his content, and he's very honest and open with what he does, and I'm sure his audience completely agree with that as well. So welcome, Chris, and it's fantastic to have you on the interview today, and welcome aboard.
Thank you so much, mate. I'm very, very happy to be here. A smidgen nervous, but yeah, this is good.
And this is a bit of an exclusive for all of us, because for as long as I've known, with the interviews, with the YouTube content that you create, you've had pretty much a slideshow where you create your content, and now we can actually see you. So fantastic, and I think it's going to be amazing for your channel that actually everyone can see who you are and present that way. So how are you feeling about finally revealing who you are?
Yeah, big face reveal. Actually, you might not be the first. Actually, no, I think you are the first person to show me. Yeah, I got another interview on the 25th that might be coming out then. So, but yeah, no, this is the reveal.
So I may not get the exclusive, but anyway, that's
no.
right.
I think it depends when you release the video, but yeah, I think you might do.
Yeah, fantastic. And what I always love to ask, Chris, is in a couple of minutes, give us 2 or 3 minutes about your background, and maybe what was the key decision that moved you into the space of creating books for KDP and then creating your YouTube channel as well? What's the background there?
Well, I think, I hope it's all right to be bluntly honest here, but to be honest, I didn't want to work for anyone. I didn't want to be around people. In that sense, I think a lot of people know that feeling where they just want their own, freedom. But yeah, finding that's been hard. I think I started publishing over 10 years ago, I think it was. Started looking for things online about 15 years ago, I think it was. But I originally started by, going down the complete wrong path, which I think a lot of people do, where I was gambling online, trying to make my money from that. Honestly, mate, I ended up losing, I think, probably thousands from gambling. But naturally, as you, look through the ways other people are making money online, you come across different ventures. And I think back in 2013, I came across the whole publishing business model. I don't know if were you publishing back then?
I started in December 2019, so it was very late stages 2019.
Yeah, no, well, I was back on it then in 2012, 2013, where ebooks were all the rage, and the money there was just ridiculous for the effort that you can put in. But it was just one of those things. I came across it on, I think it was actually the Warrior Forum, if you know that.
No, I haven't heard of that. No.
The Warrior Forum, yeah, it's like I think it's the biggest sort of digital marketing forum online. But there were people talking about, making money with ebooks and whatnot. And I just like, you know what, I'll give it a go. And I wrote a couple. I think they were romance novels actually, and they just started selling really well. And I was like, you know what, this is a good pursuit, and it's been up and down, a lot of downs, but yeah, ultimately I've always stuck with publishing, and that's what I feel passionate about. And
And were the books based on a true story or romance books, Chris? Or
no, I wish they were, mate. They were cowboy romances, so no, not really.
So we're talking Brokeback Mountain kind of.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Yeah. Well, that's a good background of how you sort of got into KDP publishing and how that evolved. Knowing what you know now in regards to publishing with KDP, what are some of the things that you think you've been able to sort of reflect back on and go, look, I really could improve, or could have improved on that area? And if I was to pass on advice to others that are either 6 months, 12 months in, or even just starting, what would be your key pieces of advice to get people started and on the right foot so they don't make similar mistakes that you might have made?
I think honestly, I think the biggest mistake I made was trying to make money quickly, believing a lot of the hype online. I had success quite quickly back then, but at the same time, it wasn't, nothing. It was nothing groundbreaking. But yeah, I think the main thing is that whatever you do, especially with publishing, is to be realistic, and that it takes a lot of time. Like, I don't know about you, but for me to build up some decent income, it took over a year. But yeah, I don't know. How about you? How fast did you find it happen?
That was I've mentioned a few times in my videos that the first 12 months was a real challenge because there was a lot of false hope out there about what you could generate. And I was like, I've made it public that the first three and a bit months, I think collectively I made $100, but I'd invested a lot of money into creating the books. I'd done a course that was quite expensive. Amazon ads was closing in on a couple of $1,000 of spend, and to then get $100 in return for all of that effort. And I think the biggest challenge is that when you're doing what we're doing, you put the effort in at the front end, but you don't necessarily see any results for months, sometimes years later. And when we're taking that leap of faith of wanting to do publishing, and you create what you believe is a bit of a work of art, you put it out there, and then it doesn't come back, that effort and return. I think that's the biggest challenge that most of us face. You see a few situations where people have created the book and they've done really well very quickly, and you feel that that should be something that's happening to you, and it doesn't happen. You become quite despondent fairly quickly. And so did you have some books that you created that you thought were masterpieces that just never kicked off? And do you know why that might have happened?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is, mate, I guess through the last sort of 2.5 years of publishing paperback books, I think the biggest mistake that I made was publishing generic low content books. I don't know if you've done that, where you sit there and you create 50 books a day and you shove them up on Amazon. And the thing is, like, it is sold as an easy way to make money, but realistically it's an easy way to produce books and upload them onto Amazon quickly. And I got caught into that thinking, you know what, so just to clarify, like, I started at the end of 2018 with my paperback publishing, wrote my own book, still sells very well today. I put a lot of effort, a lot of time into that, so I'm very, very happy with that. But then I got into like really generic low content book publishing, and I honestly, man, I wasted, I think must have been 4 months of my life just like cranking out all these really generic low content books. And I was like, other people making low content book sales, how are they doing it? I'm not making anything. And yeah, I think that was the biggest mistake that I've made, was to pursue that. But I know there's a way that you can pursue low content books and make good money with it, but just spamming Amazon with low content books isn't the way. I don't know about you. I don't know what you've found from. I don't know if you've been that route, but
I think my total book count at them, like, still currently, it's about 385, around
About
kind
the
of
same, mate.
90
Yeah.
books. So I, s- I started creating probably I did the low content books for initial. Oh, sorry, I started with high content. Then I went to and I did some low content books, and I started getting a little bit of traction there. But then I thought, well, I might try and produce some no content books. I was seeing some books that were doing well in the market in that space. But then I think I did about maybe 20, and I thought, no, what am I doing? I don't. I like this is just sort of wasting my time. I have more to give than providing a blank journal. And there's nothing wrong with creating the blank journals because it could be a great learning curve for you when you're first
Agreed. Yeah.
starting out. But as
Yeah.
you get to learn the process, I highly recommend that people work harder on their content, on their interiors, on their covers. And the biggest mistake I still see people making is that they believe that once the book is loaded, that Amazon will market that book for them. But
Yeah.
it's got to that space now where you just have to do something. It doesn't have to be paid advertising necessarily. Paid advertising through Amazon ads is very effective if it's done well and done the right way and using the right keywords. It can become expensive if you're in a competitive niche, and I found that out when I had my first high content book, which is
Yeah. Yeah.
about goal setting in one of the most competitive niches in the world.
Didn't you
And
say you lost a lot of money with that book?
yeah, I did. And it was I was competing against the Tony Robbins of the world
Oh,
and
nice.
Brian Tracy's, and I was thinking, maybe I can create my own little gap here in the market, an
Yeah.
Australian
Yeah.
author creating goal setting and habit development books. And the habit development book actually went to an Amazon bestseller in its category, which was fantastic. But it
Yeah.
didn't last long because I thought that once the book was there, it would last, be there forever. And so I sort of pulled back on ads, and at that point in time as well, I was spending more than what was coming in regards to Amazon ads. And so it
Yeah.
was great on one end, getting that bestseller tag, but it was hurting me on the other end, trying to keep it there.
Yeah.
And that was a challenge. So I then moved into the space of lower content books for educational resources for children because I've got a teaching background of 10 years of a teacher. So I knew what was happening in the classroom. I knew what would resonate well with younger kids. And so I created some of those books, and then they started doing really well. And it was uh, it was probably the effort I was putting in for Amazon ads because of the sort of the niches I was doing, that they then started creating some good traction, and they continue to do well. Like, I don't really have to touch them that much. And regarding that advertising, when people load their books up and they expect Amazon to sort of market them for them, I always say, well, think beyond just Amazon ads. Think of different ways that you can get connected with social media platforms or other marketing that you can do for free. It doesn't have to be expensive, but you do just have to do some form of marketing. And if you're producing 50 books at a time, it doesn't allow you to pull back and think clearly about where you can market that book. And it becomes more of a commodity when you're producing 50 books at a time, for example, rather than producing a couple, where you can really focus on what that niche is,
Yeah.
who the audience is, who you can market to, and how you can make that book sell better. Yeah. And so what with your journey where you're up to at the moment, because you've got your KDP books, which are going really well. You've got your YouTube channel and your audience, which is growing, and congratulations for the growth in your channel as well. I don't watch many channels, to be honest, because I'm focusing on my own thing, but I do watch yours because I love the way that you are transparent and honest. And as I mentioned from the very beginning, and you even very recently have created a short course on Amazon ads, and you've gone out of your way to create that to help people, and that course is available for people to be able to go and watch and everything. And that's a great, I think that's it speaks volumes of who you are and what you want to give to your community. And so what's in your space, what's coming up for you in the next 6 to 12 months, do you think, for KDP or for YouTube or for courses?
For KDP, well, actually touching back upon the low content books and the bigger picture here. You know, I think a lot of people get they get sort of blinded by what other people are doing, like especially people on YouTube who have, let's say, you know, they say Romney's got 300 books, Chris has got 400 books, whoever has got 5,000 books or whatever, and what they feel that they need to do is to reach that number. But what people don't remember, what people don't think about is that that's taken that person maybe 2 years. Like for me, you know, 2 years to get these books done. So what they try and do is they try and produce that amount of books when they start off. So like 2 to 3 months, they try and make 300 books, 400 books, 1,000 books even. You know, some people just go full on it and uploading the absolute worst books you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
So that, you know, for me, and part of what I'm trying to do as I go forward is to reduce the amount of books I'm uploading and just working more and more and more on the quality and thinking, actually, how can I fit into the marketplace with like 1 or 2 books? I'm working on 1 or 2 books at the moment, and you know, just to disclose what they are, it's a football activity book, and a how to draw book. But you know, I'm spending a lot of money on them, going to be running ads to them, and just trying to just get away from low content book publishing, not you know, not completely, but to at least produce much higher quality books. And I think, like I say, people have this goal in mind that they need to hit a certain number of books, and they forget what really matters, and that's the customer at the end of it. They just lose track of what the customer needs. And the other big thing is, going back to ads, is that people think ads is like a magic pill for making sales. And I think you'll know as well as anyone that it can wipe you out. Like, you know, I spend, I think, combined $300 to $400 a month on ads, and that's enough for some of my books to get ranked on the first page for their niche. But I think what people do is they jump in, they run their auto ads, put a stupid budget on it and a click price, and they're like, you know what, go, and they end up wasting a ton of money. But what they're doing is running ads to a bad book that no one wants, so they're getting more and more traffic on books that nobody wants, and it's just wasting tons and tons of money. So that's my 2022: produce better books and run ad campaigns to them. Basically, that's what I'm going to be doing for my publishing business.
And there's some videos that I've made about what you can do to increase your sales, and it's exactly that. Pick out three of your books that you know have been selling well potentially, or has great potential to sell, where you've been spending a fair bit of time creating great quality content, manuscripts, covers, descriptions, everything like that, to bring together that full package, but then spending the time to really focus on those books and market them properly. And I was the same with you with Amazon ads. They're a necessary evil in some ways, because they do help you get traction. They do help your keywords get ranked. They get your book up in front of other books that maybe other self-publishers aren't prepared to market their own books. So you can get them up there, but it's that back end side of things, which I too got carried away with marketing the book, because you don't, you know, you're marketing your book, you don't get invoiced maybe until the end of the month. And so you lose track of that. And then the conversion for me, for example, in the Australian dollar to the US dollar, it's about 1.5 times. So that can hurt if you're a publisher from a different country and you're up against the US dollar. US dollar can be a lot stronger sometimes with the currency, so it can cost you more than what you're thinking. And the other thing is that, and I've mentioned this in one of my most recent videos, when you start your Amazon ads, you get paid every 60 days by KDP for your books from the end of the month. But with Amazon ads, they're charging you every month. And so you're already behind by a couple of months by the time you get the royalties for your book. And so you might be $400 down before you get any royalties for that book. And that's even if your book is going to be selling well. So you just have to get used to how Amazon ads work. Just start with a couple of books, just build it up slowly. Watch videos like yours that you've created that will really help guide people through the initial process and get them set up. And I always thought that I wanted to master Amazon ads, but I've learned that there's still plenty of things that I'm learning along the way and things that I can get better at. And it's about efficiency. And as you said, choosing the right books, not worth promoting a book that people aren't really going to buy anyway. And that's the hard thing, because when you create a book, you think your book is amazing, but the
Yeah.
customer may not think that necessarily. And so I hope you enjoyed part A of the interview with Chris. Now, in the second part, we're going to be looking at what makes a great design for a book. We're looking at the ways you can increase your income through each book you design. We're also looking at different Amazon advertising techniques, and we're also going to be discussing further things about how to expand your self-publishing and your brand awareness as well. So keep an eye out for part B of the interview with Chris, and that should be released in a few days' time. So until then, I'll catch you later on.